Well, I agree that I think he would have blotted his copybook in some people's minds by continually interrupting Liz Truss. I mean, she was well mannered, she was calm, she never interrupted him. I don't think. At least I can't remember her doing so. Whereas he kept on doing it again and again. And I think we're only talking here about a small electorate of Tory party grassroots. And I think some of them may think, well, actually, this wasn't very good behavior. I don't think it'll make a lot of difference. I think she held her own well, and he slightly blotted his copybook.
Big news. We've just got in, Stephen, the opinion research survey of tonight's debate. It shows Conservative voters thought Truss did better by 47% to 38%. And Labour voters thought Sunak did better, 41% to 30%. So that is a big win for Truss, isn't it? Because in reality, Stephen, he needed to have a huge victory to turn around this big lead that she's developed.
He needed a huge victory, and it was pretty implausible that he'd have such a victory. I mean, she would have had to really fouled up in a major way, done something incredibly stupid, and she wasn't going to do that. In fact, I mean, I am not perhaps the greatest Liz fan in the world, Dan. I'm not necessarily as much a fan of Liz Truss as you are, but I think, I mean, one has in the back of one's mind the idea is that she's just a bit weird, is she a bit odd, is she like other is she stable and all that kind of stuff. I thought she came across really very well as being absolutely normal. Maybe we're just getting used to her, but she was calm and she didn't fluff anything. I really don't think one could fault her. Whereas Rishi looked rational to me. He obviously knows he's on the back foot and in danger of losing, which he's almost certainly going to do. And he was rattled, and that showed in his interruptions.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. Policy-wise, Stephen, obviously the big gulf remains on tax cuts. Did Rishi do anything, do you think, tonight to convince Tory voters that Truss's policy is at all irresponsible? Because obviously that's what he wants us to believe.
Yeah, I don't think he did really, because I think, she made a good point, which was which other G7 country is putting up taxes at this stage, so soon after COVID, answer zero. And he couldn't answer that. I mean, the truth of the matter is, of course, that although we like to see huge differences between them, the differences aren't that fantastically big. I mean, we're talking about out of a tax take of, I can't remember the exact figure, but let's say for the sake of argument, it's 500 or 600 billion. Then we're talking maybe even 700 actually, but it's a lot of money. We're talking about a difference of 30 billion, which I mean, Rishi said 40, but I think it's probably nearer 30. She would do 30 billion worth of tax cuts, and Rishi says he wouldn't, but actually probably he would in the end. I suspect he wouldn't raise, in a likely event of his becoming Prime Minister, I suspect he probably wouldn't raise corporation tax, which he said he will do, because it'd be a mad thing for him to do, a really insane thing for him to do. But anyway, the difference between them isn't as great as people make out. I don't think he managed to get across the idea that she's wildly irresponsible or acting like a kind of mad woman, because the difference isn't that great, and she came across as sensible and balanced and stable.
Thatcherite? Does she come across Thatcherite like?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, my advice to her is to stop trying to ape Thatcher, because it's another era. She's another woman, and we have this stuff about her dressing like Thatcher and sitting on a tank and all the rest of it. I think she should drop all that, and I think she probably is dropping it, because she's got to be her own woman, so people don't keep on saying, "Is she like Thatcher?" That's bad for her. She's got to be like Liz Truss.